Hello, good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Business News, your Mini Live. My name is Alfredo Kanse. Let's go on to our first story this afternoon. Africa and Singapore are taking steps to deepen bilateral and trade relations to ensure economic growth. African countries, including Ghana, signed several agreements with Singapore at the 4th Africa-Singapore Business Forum. Ava Tigboka has the rest of the story.
Singapore rose from a third world country to a first world economy. The once British colonial trading post is now a global financial hub described as one of Asia's economic tigers. The country's rapid progress have been the envy of most of its compatriots.
Very orderly. You can see there's a lot of discipline. Singapore is certainly of first world development status, even though in the 60s they were almost at the same level as Ghana is, but they've long passed Ghana.
A country that has gone through the third world to the first world category. And there's a lot to learn from this experience.
Singapore's Minister of State for Trade and Industry, Dr. Poo Kung Kung, believes Africa can emulate the development path.
We started as something very small in terms of land size and in terms of our population, and also with no natural resources. I think these are quite difficult challenges. So I think in any developing country, if they can also emulate some of these principles, good governance and good leadership, because a good leadership with good governance actually provides the overarching framework for many of the development pieces to take place.
Dr. Poo Kung Kung, however, cautioned discipline and good governance must be the master key. Regarding challenges in Africa, the minister said they rather serve as motivation for investment. Singapore-Africa bilateral trade grew at a compounded annual growth rate of 5.2% since 2005. At the end of 2014, Singapore's cumulative direct investment into Africa stood at 22.1 billion Singaporean dollars. Currently, 60 Singapore companies are operating in some 50 African countries. Deputy Prime Minister Tharman Shanmugaratnam said there's a need for Africa to integrate with Asia. International Enterprise of Singapore already has offices in Ghana and South Africa. The city-state signed bilateral tax investment and air services agreement with Ethiopia, Mozambique and Nigeria at the just-ended Africa-Singapore Business Forum. Ghana, which is already doing business with Singapore, inked another agreement with Singapore's Corporation Enterprise.
All right, so officials of the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, SADA, visited Singapore and signed a memorandum of understanding with the Singapore Corporation Enterprise to help structure the development plan or path of the zone as well. This afternoon, we've been joined in studio by the Chief Executive Officer of the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, Charles Abugri. It's good to have you, sir. But we know we already have some agreement with Singapore, but what exactly is this MoU you signed going to contribute to the development plan and the path that SADA has mapped out?
Okay. We entered into an agreement about 8 months ago with Singapore's leading planning authority called the Savannah Jurong. Savannah Jurong has, as a center place in the development of, Singapore's.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Singapore's housing sector, Singapore's industrial sector, Singapore's overall planning and development.
Okay.
And so what they are doing for us is to plan the SADA zone for a 20-year development period. 20-year development period. And we are coming to a close in this planning process. So the agreement we signed with Singapore Corporation Enterprise is to facilitate a government-to-government relationship that enables SADA to draw from a range of Singaporean government capabilities to support the implementation of the master plan which we are developing, again with Savannah Jurong of Singapore.
That's great there. Now, so you have a 20-year period for this plan that you put out there. But I want, for example, specifics of how it's going to impact on the path or the development path that you have? Because I know SADA is into a lot more projects, and this MoU would specifically impact on some project, and that's what I wanted to find out.
The MoU would be more than projects. First, it will help SADA to draw on expertise to strengthen the institution itself. We have to build the institutional capability to implement the plan. The second thing it will do is that it will enable SADA to tap into international finance. So build the capability to be able to leverage the financial resources. And thirdly, what it will do is to enable SADA to understand and improve the business environment of the SADA zone. And finally, there's a couple of specific things we would like to start off with, which is to learn from Singapore's first-class vocational and technical education and their polytechnic education to create a couple of centers of excellence in both vocational and technical education and polytechnic education across the SADA zone. And this will be one of the first
it has some benefit for the education sector in the SADA zone as well.
Exactly, because if you don't have the skills and the human resources, you cannot deploy for the development of a comprehensive multi-sectoral development plan. So we have to create these skills. And the best starting point for skills development is technical vocational education and polytechnic education. And Singapore has some of the best technical and vocational education. I mean, the people from around the world actually go to see how the technical and vocational education works. My board member, Professor Mariama, went to see their technical and vocational education institute and was very impressed. We need to start practical. SADA zone is generally low skilled, really generally very poor, and we have to start practical. That's one of the things we will benefit from this cooperation agreement.
Great, Ron. I will need to run it, but I want to find out your thoughts on this. The presidential candidate of the MPP has promised one dam, one village in the northern part of the country. I know that the larger part of the SADA zone falls within that part of the country. I find out your thoughts about this and whether it is indeed feasible for that particular region we're talking about.
Irrigation is absolutely key for the development of the SADA zone. Most of the water resources that flow into the Volta Lake come from the SADA zone, and yet it's dry most of the time. So irrigation is absolutely key. But the SADA approach to irrigation is more a cluster approach. So what we have done is that we have undertaken a comprehensive study of the irrigation potentials of the area and divided the irrigation potentials into 3 types of irrigation schemes: large-scale irrigation, medium-sized irrigation, and small-scale irrigation. And we have mapped out 23 major, medium, and large-scale irrigation sites that can irrigate up to 500,000. And the small-scale irrigation
and this already started, something's ongoing?
Well, some things are ongoing, but it takes a while. But your question was about one village, one dam. As I said, our approach is to take a more cluster rather than village by village approach.
Charles Abogre, I thank you very much. He is the CEO of the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, SADA there. Now,